Could the world be witnessing a global democratic recession? In recent times, we've seen a notable decline in freedom and democracy worldwide. It's a trend that's been both alarming and disheartening. A stark example of this is the coup epidemic that has swept across Africa. Nations such as Niger and Gabon have experienced military takeovers, shaking the very foundations of their democratic systems. Meanwhile, Mali and Burkina Faso are teetering on the brink of war, their futures hanging in the balance. These instances of political instability are not limited to Africa. In Latin America, countries like Guatemala and Peru are also facing their share of political turmoil. Moving east, we witness a different yet equally concerning scenario. In India, the government has been silencing critics, stifling voices of dissent in a nation that prides itself on being the world's largest democracy. But it's not just about the suppression of voices. The political landscape of Europe is changing too. Far-right parties are gaining traction, their ideologies resonating with a significant portion of the population. This rise of the far right is a development that could drastically reshape the democratic fabric of Europe. All these events, spread across different continents, weave a tapestry of a global democratic recession. It's not about one country or one region, it's about a global phenomenon that's affecting us all. Yet, in the face of these challenges, it's important to remember that democracy, by its nature, is resilient. It thrives on dialogue, dissent, and the collective will of the people. It's a system that's been tested time and again, and yet, it endures. However, these events are a stark reminder of the fragile nature of democracy. They underscore the need for vigilance, for active participation, and for the universal respect of democratic norms and values. Because at the end of the day, the strength of a democracy is determined by the commitment of its people to uphold it. Are we on the brink of a new era in space exploration? As we gaze into the cosmos, it's clear that the space race is not just heating up, it's practically on fire. Countries and corporations alike are pouring resources into the vast expanse beyond our atmosphere, a testament to the human spirit's insatiable curiosity and desire for discovery. Let's take a moment to look at India, a shining example of this renewed vigor for space exploration. The country recently joined an exclusive club, becoming only the fourth nation to land an unmanned vehicle on the moon. But India didn't stop there. They've also embarked on an ambitious mission to study the sun, a celestial body so fundamental to our existence and yet still shrouded in mystery. Meanwhile, China and the United States, two superpowers with a long history of rivalry, are also setting their sights on the moon. Each has ambitious programs that aim to further our understanding of Earth's natural satellite and perhaps even establish a permanent human presence there. But as we push the boundaries of our knowledge and capabilities, concerns are starting to emerge. The militarization of space is a real possibility, with the potential to put a damper on the spirit of exploration and cooperation. Moreover, the lack of clear, universally accepted rules governing space operations presents a challenge. With more players entering the field, the need for a structured framework to ensure fair and peaceful use of space is becoming increasingly apparent. The stakes are high, and the race is on. As we continue to reach for the stars, we must also grapple with the implications of these advancements. The question is not only who will get there first, but also how we will navigate this new frontier responsibly. Space, the final frontier, could become the next battleground for geopolitical supremacy. What happens when the world's most populous country is no longer China, but India? It's a question that's no longer hypothetical, but a reality we're seeing unfold before our very eyes. In a significant demographic shift, India has surpassed China to become the world's most populous country. With an estimated population of 1.43 billion, India is experiencing a population boom that shows no signs of slowing down. On the other side of the Himalayas, the story is quite different. China, once the world's most populous nation, is grappling with a shrinking and aging population. The one-child policy, which was in effect for more than 3 decades, has had lasting impacts. The country now faces the challenge of a dwindling workforce and an increasing number of elderly citizens to support. Contrast this with India, where the population is not only growing but also skewing younger. The country's median age is 29, a full decade younger than China's. With more than half of its population under the age of 25, India is brimming with a youthful energy that could drive innovation and economic growth. But what does this mean for the balance of power in Asia? Well, population size matters, and it matters a lot. It can shape economic output, military strength, and political influence. With India's burgeoning population, it's poised to play a more influential role on the global stage. However, it's not without its challenges. India will need to ensure that its growing population is a boon, not a burden. That means investing in education, healthcare, and job creation to ensure its youthful population is well-equipped to contribute to the country's growth. As we look towards the future, one thing is clear. These demographic shifts could redefine global power dynamics in the coming decades. India's rise as the world's most populous country is not just a statistic but a potential game-changer in the global arena. Could unresolved conflicts from the past reignite and reshape geopolitics? This question takes us to the heart of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. This contested region, populated by ethnic Armenians, boldly declared its independence back in 1991, following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The declaration led to a fierce war with Azerbaijan, a conflict that would leave deep scars and unresolved tensions. The world watched as these two nations clashed over Nagorno-Karabakh, the land caught in the crossfire of their dispute. By 1994, the fighting had reached a stalemate, and a ceasefire was brokered, but the peace was uneasy, the issues far from settled. Fast forward to 2020. The world, distracted by a global pandemic, barely noticed as the old tensions flared up again. The ceasefire was broken, and once again Nagorno-Karabakh found itself the battleground for these two post-Soviet nations. But it was in 2023 that the situation took a dramatic turn. Azerbaijan, with renewed determination, launched an aggressive attack on Nagorno-Karabakh. The world watched in shock as Azerbaijan gained control of the territory that had for so long been a point of contention. The result? A mass exodus of Armenians, forced to flee their homes and seek refuge in Armenia. This seizure of Nagorno-Karabakh by Azerbaijan not only reshaped the borders in this region but also sent a ripple through the international community, reminding us all of the lingering power of unresolved conflicts. It underscored the fact that the ghosts of the past can and do come back to haunt the present, and their effects can be far-reaching, affecting not just the immediate region but the world at large. The Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is a grim reminder that old wounds can reopen and have far-reaching consequences. Let's remember this as we navigate the complexities of global politics, aware that the echoes of history are never truly silent. From the heart of the Caucasus to the vast expanses of the globe, the world is a stage of constant change and unexpected developments. Welcome to News Daily, your daily dose of essential global news. As we peel back the layers of geopolitics, let's dive into today's most significant events. In the Americas, the U.S. continues its struggle with a divided political landscape, while its southern neighbor Mexico grapples with escalating drug-related violence. Across the Atlantic, the European Union faces a dilemma over the refugee crisis fueled by conflicts and instability in the Middle East and Africa. Speaking of Africa, the continent is experiencing an economic renaissance, with a handful of nations emerging as promising markets for global investors. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict persists, with new rounds of peace talks offering a glimmer of hope. In Asia, North Korea's nuclear ambitions continue to unsettle the region and the world. However, the recent peace talks between the two Koreas have sparked a ray of hope. Lastly, in Oceania, Australia faces environmental challenges with increasing bushfires threatening its unique biodiversity. As we wrap up today's global roundup, we're reminded that our world is interconnected. The ripples of an event, whether they originate from the heart of Nagorno-Karabakh or the far corners of North Korea, can be felt across the globe. Stay tuned, stay informed, and join us again tomorrow for another episode of News Daily, where we bring the world to your screen.